Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Uh, my name is Paula, and we are doing Foundation Course 8, Death and the Realms of Existence. And we're on our last two classes, and we will be talking about meditation on death. So we've left the realm of, talking about all the realms of existence and how the world came into being, how it goes out of being, and all of that. And now we're focusing on uh, death itself. We're finally getting to the point. But before we get started, let's take a moment and settle our minds and recall our motivation for being here today. So feel yourself, feel your body supported by whatever seat you're sitting on. Feel connected to the earth. Straighten your spine. Make sure your shoulders are level and back a bit. You can lift the top of your head a bit to lengthen your spine. Allow all thoughts about what you just did before we joined together and what you plan to do after we go apart. Just be present. Notice your breath as it leaves and then enters your body. Feel your heart beat in your chest. Think how your breath and the beating of your heart are what keeps this body of yours alive. These actions of breath and heartbeat, they're constantly, continuously occurring. Most of the time we pay them no attention whatsoever. Most of the time we take this life we have for granted. we have this sort of unspoken or not put into words, but this idea that there's a future for us in this life. We make plans for the future. Everything from, you know, what we're going to wear today, or who we're going to see today, what we're going to do today. When we got up in the morning, we may have had those thoughts. And we plan ahead for future times, like maybe we plan to meet someone next week for coffee. Or we plan a trip to go visit our family. And we make grander plans too, saving money up so we can make some big purchase, like, I don't know, a trip around the world, or maybe we want to buy a car or a house. Or send our children to college. But where does that unspoken idea that we have a future in this life, what is it based on? for each of us, it could be very unique when we stop to think about it. Like, oh, I've been taking care of my body. I've been eating well and doing yoga or exercise. Or maybe it's something like, oh, I my bloodline is filled with people who lived well into their uh, old age. So I will live a long time too. Or maybe it's that, oh, I have very good health insurance. If anything ever happens, I can get the care that I need to keep me alive. Be many different reasons. Stop to think in your life, have you ever known anyone who lived past 120 years old? Think in your life experience. Has anyone you've known unexpectedly died? think in your life experience, have you ever known anyone who died younger than 120? So, given our lived experience, ask the question again. On what do I base my idea, my unspoken idea, that I have a future? And if you'd like to join me in reciting prayers, you're welcome. Sashi Puki Chukshin Meito Tram Rira Blingshin Yende Gempadi Sangye Shindu Mikte Uwarki Drokun Namdak Shingla Chuparso Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamye Atayami Sangye Charam Soki Chuknam La Changchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsuchi Daki Chishe Kipe Sunam Ki Jola Penchir Sangye Juparsho Sangye Chiran Suki Chuknam La Jamchu Partu Dakni Kyapsuchi Daki Chishe Kipe Sunam Ki Jola Pinshir Sangye Duparsho Sangye Chiran Suki Chuknam La Changchu Pardu Dakni Kyapsuchi Daki Chishe Kipe Sunam Ki Jola Pinshir Sangye Duparsho. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your interest in this course. Um, it's really like it's such a gift you've given me to be able to go back through these classes um, so that I can share them with you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. My great great grandfather has lived for 108 years, so I've got potential. The stories we tell ourselves. That question is, I think, a very uh, important one to contemplate. Why am I so certain that I'm going to have a long life? Just because someone else did? What does that have to do with this particular bag of skin and bones? It's good to really explore. That's the practice of these teachings it is rooted in investigating how it is that we experience our world. And to question those experiences, not necessarily to debunk them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when we have a conclusion about something, know what it's based on. Question why we think what we think. The practice of these teachings is like holding a mirror in front of our face so we can see clearly. And honestly, and regardless the topic of the teaching, that's what we have to do when we put it into practice. So our topic today is death. Chiwa Mitapa. Oh, where'd you go? There you are. Chiwa Mitapa. Chiwa means death, and Mitapa means impermanence. Death and impermanence. Um, those of you who have studied for a while, especially with Geshe Michael, uh, you know that death and impermanence is part of the Lam Rim teachings, the steps on the path to enlightenment. Uh, and it's basically a meditation on death, remembering the fact that we are mortal, we are impermanent. Chiwa Kompa is another way we can say it. So Chiwa again is death, and Kompa means to meditate. So we could call it death meditation. The text we're using for this week's classes is the Lamrim Chenmo. The great book on the path to enlightenment. And this was written by Jetson Kappa. And he says, he adds another word in here. He says, Chiwa Drempa Kompa. Chiwa Drempa Kompa. And Drempa means to remember or to recall. If we try to put this together literally, it would be something like meditate on remembering death. But you can also translate Trempa as awareness. And you can also translate Kompa as getting used to, becoming habituated to. Like the path of habituation, after we see emptiness directly, we leave the third path, the path of seeing, and we enter the fourth path, the path of getting used to what we saw, right? So for Jason Kappa, he's talking about this is not necessarily a meditation that we do on our cushion, but it's a thought that we have, and that we would benefit from thinking about all day. Shiva Drempa Kompa means thinking, I'm going to die today. Keeping in mind, I'm going to die today. Having the question, how would I act if I knew I was going to die today? What would I do if I knew I was going to die today? Would I do anything different than what I'm doing now? What you just thought when I raised those questions is, the most important thing about this whole course. It's the whole point of this whole course on death and the realms of existence. That it would have some effect on your behavior. Your behavior would change. If you keep that feeling throughout the day, if you ask that question, what would I be doing right now if I was going to die tonight? Then you've perfected death meditation. That's the whole point. But even though we hear this, and my guess is each of you have heard this before. If you're like me, there are many days that go by when you don't think about death. So that's why we have the course. And that's why we will have many lists related to how to contemplate death. So Jaitan Kappa is I so appreciate his writing. He presents material in such an organized way. Uh, I just so appreciate that. Thank you. So he presents, having an awareness of death he's in 4 parts. Very classic. So the first thing, the first of the 4 parts is Chiwa Drempa Makompe Nye Mik. So Chiwa Drempa, we know what that is, right? That's recalling death. We had Gompa, and this ma is a negative particle. So makompa means not meditating or not getting used to or not habituating ourselves. And yemik means problems, disadvantages. So the first of the 4 steps of death meditation is the problems associated with not meditating on death. There are 6 disadvantages that he lists. And you'll see this in your reading. The first problem is that if we don't meditate on death, if we don't make that part of our practice, at the very least, on the meditation cushion, but even throughout the day, we start to get like pulled into our daily life. We concentrate on small pleasures. Like, I don't know, planning our favorite meals to eat, or thinking about, finding clothing that we feel attracted in. The focus of our life turns to more mundane things, and mundane in the sense of having to do with this one life, this worldly life. It doesn't mean necessarily going out, wanting to buy a Rolls Royce or something. It's a luxury car. We couldn't afford it. Probably even if we put all of our money together, we couldn't afford it. Oh. It means we're just constantly focusing during the day on what we're going to eat, what we're going to wear, what our home looks like. Is it clean? Do we need another chair? Do we have to fix that thing over there? What kind of work am I going to do? What do people think about me? Things like that. It's like the focus of our day. So our day won't be focused on putting the teachings into practice. If we don't think about death, then that's the natural way that our minds will go. It's not like we're trying to get rich or we're trying to possess a lot of things, but it's like we're just focused on daily life. We're not focused on our future life, on what's going to happen after we die, because we don't even think about death. And this leads into the second of the six problems. And that is that when we do think about that, we think it's going to happen later in the future. If I say to you, you might die tonight, there's like an immediate reaction in your mind that, oh, Utpala is saying that because she's giving a class on death. You know, she has to say that. It's not about me. I'm not going to die tonight. And we really do think that. We believe that. It's death is always something in the far future. But I'm sure each and every one of us has a story about someone we know who died suddenly. Like, I have a friend who, a healthy guy in his, I think, I don't know how old he was. We're getting old, but he wasn't that old, right? We always think that. I'm not that old. Two kids in college, in his young 60s, I think. And one day he wasn't feeling quite right in his body. So he went to get checked out. Uh, and he went into the hospital and they're doing tests and he died. Totally unexpected. He's a yoga practitioner, very healthy body, long time practitioner of these teachings. And he just died. So we always think it's going to be sometime in the future. And so, because we think it's going to be sometime in the future, we procrastinate. We put things off for the future. Like, oh, I'm going to do retreat, but not this year. I'm too busy. I'm going to start my retreats next year. Or, oh, I I really want to learn the Tibetan language. I'm really keen on what the mixed nuts are doing. I want to be one. But I got kids, I got responsibilities, I have a job. Uh, I'll do it in the future. Someday I will. Or I'm I'm gonna finish my homework for my foundation courses. I am going to. I can't work on it today. I'm too busy. I'll do it in the future. I'll put together a group. We'll meet. We'll help each other with our homework. But I'll plan that next week. Everything is future. I'm going to stop my bad habit of yelling at my computer when it doesn't do what I want it to do. Uh, I keep putting it off. And it's because I'm not meditating on death. If I were meditating on death, if I were thinking I am going to die tonight, I would not yell at my computer no matter what it did. Master Shantideva has a story in his guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. He says that if someone gave you, um, a glass of water and it was filled up to the rim, and they asked you to walk across the room without spilling it, you would probably just walk across the room and oops, I spilled some. I mean, that happens as I'm taking food from the stove to the, gosh, even from right next to the stove to the stove. I spilled a bunch of food yesterday. Anyway, but Shantideva says, if someone was standing behind you with a dagger and they said, walk across this room without spilling a drop of water, or I'm going to kill you, you would walk across the room and not spill a drop. Your mind is in a very different place. Which leads into sort of into the third one. The third of the six is you do your practice, but you do it for your reputation, or reputation sneaks in to be important to you. And this is not like you're obsessed with being famous for being someone who practices meditation, or you want to be known in the Buddhist circles as, the most educated scholar of these teachings. It's more basic than that. One of the things we realize when we see emptiness directly for the first time, we see that everything we've done in our lives has been for our own benefit. We may have some idea that, oh, I only serve others. I'm only thinking about other people. But we will see, and at the path of seeing, and we can see if we think about it honestly, if we hold up the mirror to ourselves honestly, clearly, we see that we are motivated even in helping others to somehow benefit ourselves. And what is this self? This self doesn't even exist. But we're like driven. This mistake allows us to be like driven by this idea of taking care of this one. And even when we're doing prayers, and I've noticed this happening to me sometimes, and it's like, oh my God, Utpala, where I'm in a group of people and we're chanting. And my mind goes to, oh my gosh, why is everyone so off key? I can sing perfectly in pitch. It's not what the practice is about. So everything we do is infected with self-interest. It's like our nature. And if we don't contemplate our death, our own impermanence, uh, it gets even worse. We have it all the time. The fourth disadvantage or problem of not contemplating death is we do our practice, uh, but we're going through the motions. Like when we do if you do like prayers before class, if you had joined me, where was your mind? Was it just reciting the sounds? Or was it truly thinking about what those sounds mean? The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is that I do prostration. And like this morning, I noticed I was just reciting sounds and doing movement and I wasn't thinking about it at all. But oh, I did my prostrations. What benefit is that? And if we aren't thinking about what it is we're doing in these, especially these kinds of practices, uh, then they won't mean anything to us, obviously, because we're not thinking about their meaning. And they won't stick. We won't stay with it. And we're not going to get much benefit out of it. If we were meditating on death, our practice would be sweet. It would be heartfelt, not artificial. If we knew we were going to die tonight, our practice would be full of in a kind of energy. This is not about, oh, pretend that you're going to die tonight. No, it's not pretend. You are going to die tonight. That's a big leap to make. I'm not saying, oh, pretend you're going to die. I'm saying, no, you are going to die tonight. And then act like that. There's a resistance when I say that. Your mind is probably filled with thoughts now pushing back at what I just said. No, no, no. We just need to think we're going to die tonight. We just need to think as though we're going to die tonight. And if we think like that, then no, that's not the point. No, understand you are going to die tonight. And then act out of that. We hear these teachings many times. And this one we have to hear over and over and over and over. It may be beneficial to take some time and focus on this. Make this our main practice. Like, I don't know, if you're going to go and enter the Diamond Way with Geshe Michael in a few months, in October, maybe you would want to spend one of these months we have beforehand and focus on death. Just an idea. The fifth problem of not contemplating death is that we get deeper into this life. And Geshe Michael shared how, if you look at the experience of a younger person and an older person, the older person is like far more invested in like their home and their their belongings, and do I have enough money saved for retirement, and uh, things like that. And younger people, they don't think about any of those things. They're able to like go here and there, go on long trips and explore the world. They're happy to sleep on people's couches here and there as they travel. They're not so clingy into things. Some people are. That's true. But as a general rule, um, you know, older people are far more attached to, what they have, how much money they're making, uh, you know, things like that. And to get those things, to keep those things that we have, we we do negative things. Not necessarily actually physically harming somebody else. Uh, but we get very possessive of our things. Uh, we tell what we call white lies or small lies. I don't know what you'd call it in another language. A fib, to try and get what we want or keep what we want. We're creating these little negativities that, if we're not paying attention, if we're not, then purifying those karmic seeds, they're going to grow into uh, pretty awful experiences. I mean, we've talked about what life in the other realms or the other levels of existence are like. And we're just planting seeds for that kind of future existence. And then the sixth disadvantage is intense regret at the moment of death. And this is, at the time of death, it is, I mean, not if you're like hit by a car or something like that. I mean, if you die like that, no time to be thinking about anything. Uh, but if you're like in a bed, you're going to die, you're about to die, you're you have nothing to do but think about your life that you're about to lose. And uh, it's quite common to look back and have regret about missed opportunities or things we did that harmed other people. There's a lot of, they call them deathbed confessions. It's common that people who are on their deathbed want to confess that the negative things they've done. So they're thinking about all of that. And for people who are practitioners of these teachings, it could be like, oh, I, I put off for the future my retreats. I didn't finish all my retreats. Or I never did put together that group to finish the homeworks. And it's a, I can imagine a horrible feeling to have a mind filled with regret about everything we've done. The biggest regret for like a Dharma student would be I I didn't see emptiness directly. I didn't change my behavior. I never stopped yelling at the computer. I wasted my precious human life, and now it's about to end. So that's the first of the four stages, considering the disadvantages of not meditating on death. Now we're going to talk about the second, which is, as you might imagine, Chiwa Drempa Gompe Penyun. So we've had all this for, so our new word here is Penyun, which means benefits. And we don't have our negative particle. So this is contemplating an awareness of death, the benefits of contemplating or developing an awareness of death. So the first benefit is our practice becomes more and more pure. We're less distracted by thoughts about, comparing ourselves to others, or uh, we might lose a few friends. Like, I'm going to die tonight. I'm going to practice all afternoon. People might be upset that we're not going out to dinner with them. Our boss might be upset that we're not working on whatever project we got. The second benefit is that our practice gains power. And this is related to the first benefit. But there's like this energy. And the more we feed that energy, the more we're planting seeds for our practice to have energy, right? Um, if you believe that you would only have one meditation session before you were to die tonight, before you are going to die tonight, it would be very powerful. It would be very intense. Like, let's say you were trying to, um, you know, trying to visualize your teacher in meditation and you've been struggling with that, your energy in generating that visualization would be so much more intense. The third benefit is that you get a strong motivation to practice, obviously. Um, if you have trouble meditating every day, or you have trouble, let's say, studying every day, or uh, whatever it is that you know you have a hard time doing in your practice, this can be a very motivating, you know. And for those of us who do practice, um, but we also like serve the Dharma, like I'm thinking about you, especially live translators. Um, we, we can allow that service of others to be a hindrance to our practice, to our meditation practice. Like, oh, I can't meditate today. I've got to finish translating this text. That's really important. Or, oh, I can't meditate today because I'm teaching a class. I have to prepare my Dharma class. Or, oh, I can't meditate today because we're having, my teacher is coming to town and we're preparing this space. We have to keep things in perspective. And if you are following this path, if you've heard these teachings, if you've heard that the key to breaking the chain that binds us in this cycle of suffering is to see directly the nature of reality, to see directly that things are empty of existing from their own side. We must meditate every day. Serving other people is wonderful. It's great. We should do it. We should teach. We should help our teachers. We should translate for other people. And we need to meditate every day. No, instead of. Okay, number 4. The fourth benefit of contemplating or developing awareness of death is that it keeps us going strong. So if you've done retreat, you may have had the same experience that I've had, where they draw the shape of they draw a retreat like this. So it starts off, you're not very focused. You get there, you probably sleep because you've been busy beforehand trying to get ready. So your mind is not focused. then you start developing more and more focus. You get deeper, we call it, into meditative concentration. And then towards the end, things start to come back down. You start thinking about, oh, what am I going to do after retreat? Or I've got to do this to get ready, or don't forget you have this meeting. Thoughts come up. And so the 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 amount of time that's at the high level, deep meditation in retreat is very short. It's a lot shorter than 1 month. It's really more like one day when you get down to it. All the time it takes to get into deep retreat and then to ease out of deep retreat. So if we're contemplating about death, we can extend that deep retreat part. It can give more power to our practice. The fifth benefit is that it gets us to the end. And that's actually when I should have been talking about retreat. Is that it gets us through to the end of the retreat. The previous one is like keep you going strong. Is right. It's like some days we have really good practice. We're able to sit down, quickly get into focus on our object of meditation. We get up, we catch our mind as we're about to have a negative thought, and we keep it from happening. We're very generous with people. We serve other people like it's a good day. And then we have bad days where it feels like we can't focus on anything to save our lives, and we're so distracted we just get up and say forget it. Or maybe we don't even sit down because we know our mind is going crazy, so it wouldn't be able to focus. We don't keep our negativities from arising into our speech or our actions. And our practice is like that. Up and down. We have peaks and we have valleys. And this is normal. Different karmas are ripening for us to have that kind of experience. So with death meditation, it's very good for those times we're in a valley. Those times when, we feel like we can't do anything or we're not doing anything. It's a benefit at that time. And then with the retreat, it's the benefit to like get you through to the end and extend that time in deep meditation, for example. And then the sixth benefit is to die with satisfaction. Like at that point, at the time of death, when we're reviewing our lives, we can look and see, I practiced well. I did the best I could. I did not waste this life. No, I did not see emptiness directly. Maybe you probably already have. But I planted a lot of seeds. and they're going to ripen into that experience in the future. So if we spend our life with this kind of pure motivation, Kunlong in Tibetan, uh, our reflection at the time of death, we're not going to be weighed down by regret. Instead, it's our mind is going to be happier. And that's a much better state of mind for going into death than having a lot of regret. Okay, so that was the second of the 4 steps, right? Now, we talked about the disadvantages of not meditating on death. We talked about the advantages of meditating on death. And now we're going to talk about, well, just what kind of death awareness do we need to have? Shiwa Drempe Loji Tabush Shikepa. For those of you studying Tibetan, there's the Tibet. I won't go through it all, but it means we've had most of these words before. But here it's like, what exactly do we need to have an awareness of? Jason Koppen divides it into 2. What death awareness is not, and what death awareness is. So, what it's not. Thinking about what it's going to be like as we die. What is the pain that we're going to have? What is what kind of attachment to things is going to become crystal clear to us when we realize that we're about to die and we're going to lose everything. We're going to lose our stuff. We're going to lose our friends. We're going to lose our family, our loved ones, our dear partner. It's not that. I mean, the death process is explained in Buddhist teachings, and it's very harrowing. But that's not death meditation. Thinking about the fears and the terrors and the hallucinations at the time of death is not the point. Jason Kappa says we don't have to think about that because it's going to happen. I wouldn't have to write a book about death meditation because it's just going to happen. What death awareness is at the very least having the minimum motivation for Buddhist practice, the minimum motivation for taking refuge. is concern for our next life. Wanting to be calm in this life and happy in this life, that's not a Buddhist motivation at all. The minimum Buddhist motivation is having concern for our future life. Where are we going? What are we planting seeds to experience in our next life, in our future lives? And to think about our next life, we have to think about this one is going to end. It is going to end. It is going to end. We will have a future life. What we do now with this one is what is planting the seeds for our future life. That's the minimum motivation. So that's why death and impermanence is at the beginning of the Lamrim Chenmo, the beginning of discussion of the steps on the path to enlightenment. Impermanence, death. We have to have this first. It's like the basis of everything else on the path. Okay, so now we know the disadvantages of not doing it. We know the advantages of doing it. We know what it is and what it isn't. The fourth step is then how to do it, how to meditate and develop an awareness of death. This step has three major stages. And I'll just say them briefly. 3 principles, 9 reasons, 3 reasons for each of the 3 principles. That's where the 9 comes from. And then 3 resolutions. 3 principles, 9 reasons, 3 resolutions. So the 3 principles for contemplating death and the whole structure of death meditation rests on these 3 principles. The first principle is Nepar Chiwar Sampa. Nepar Chiwar Sampa. Nepar means certain, definitive. Chiwa we had before is death. This little particle, a raw, Chiwar, makes it that death. And Sampa, we've had before too, if you remember, it's like when the movement of the mind. So here it's to contemplate, to think, to move our mind that death is certain. It is certain we will die. The second principle is Nam Chi Nge Me Sampa. Nam means when or time. So Nam Chi is the time of death or when we will die. Nge Me, we had Nge before as certainty, right? Certain. Me is a negative particle, uncertain. Sampa again is to think about, contemplate. So we contemplate that the time of death is uncertain. Death is certain. When we will die, uncertain. The third principle is Chiwed Sechu Matokpa Kangi Pempa Sampa. Pempa means to help, right? We had the first part in benefits. We had Pen Yun. This is Penpa, a benefit. Me is a negative particle. Matokpa. That means other than. Other than. Ch is dharma. And se is time. So chi would say is the time of death. And Kangi Kang is sort of like an emphasizer. And what this means is we contemplate how there is nothing at all but Dharma that can be of any help to us at the time of death. Our mind is the only thing that continues. As the bag of bones and skin we take on, as this one dies, and we go into the pardo normally, and we take on another bag of skin and bones in some fashion. The mind is the only thing, even though it's changing, right? 64 per finger snap. The stream of our awareness, our mind continues on. And the things we have done, the seeds we have planted with our practice, that potential from the highest school's perspective, those potentials, those seeds are replicating in every instant. So they are the only thing that will help us at the time of death. Now there are 9 reasons, right, for these 3 principles. Each principle has 3 reasons. And I'll just go through very briefly the three reasons for the first principle, which is that it is certain we will die. The first reason is nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop your death. You can have all the money in the world, you cannot stop your death. You cannot bribe the Lord of Death. You cannot find the best doctor, it will not help. Nothing can stop it. That's the first reason. Second reason is there's nothing you can do to extend it. When the karma is ripening, and we have the seeds for our life to come to an end. When that karma is ripening, there's nothing you can do to stop it. We can't extend it, our life. Oh, wait. I want to just do translate one more book. No, sorry, can't do it. And the third one, a little more challenging to think about, but the third reason is that there isn't time to practice. If we think about our day, and let's say, yes, I'm a good practitioner, I'm going to meditate for an hour a day. That's 1 hour out of 24 hours. That's it. 2%. 4%, actually. But, there's all these things we have to do. We have to feed this thing. We have to clothe this thing. We have to work to make money to feed and clothe this thing. We have to house this thing. There's all these things we have to do. And we have very little time for practice. So those are the first three reasons, and they're related to the first principle, which is that death is certain. Okay. Oh boy, I did it just in time. So, sorry, no time for dedication. Please don't forget to dedicate. Don't let these seeds go to waste. I thank you very much, live translators. I so appreciate it. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you on Friday for our last class. Have a good couple of days. I know, already the last class. It's unbelievable. Impermanence for you. Okay, bye.